Here we are with Alex at the back of the house, the same spot where we're standing when you had the arc system here
That's right.
and you were explaining it. And now you have a whole house.
Bigger, taller, wider, thicker.
And more expensive.
Definitely more expensive. Definitely more expensive than I ever imagined.
Well, what were we just talking about, Alex? Volume,
So basically,
scale.
growing up in a boating world, you go from a 24-foot boat to a 30-foot boat. The word is exponential, and you don't just multiply it by the 4 extra feet that you've gained or the 6 extra foot that your boat is. It multiplies in every direction.
Volume,
Volume,
size of the mast.
Had I gone with arcs again, I probably wouldn't go arcs all the way to the top plate. I'd probably go with the arcs or the foam blocks, ICFs as they're called, insulated concrete forms, 2, 3, 4 feet out of the ground, and then 2x8 plates with staggered 2x4 studs,
Right.
and rock wool insulation. So you get the benefit of staggered studs for sound and also thermal mass.
Right.
Thermal bridging. You've broken the
Right.
thermal bridging by having staggered studs.
Right.
Wood's cheap.
Right.
Wood's actually cheaper now in 2010
It's so cheap.
than it was 5 or 10
That's
years
what I
ago.
was telling people on my
Yeah.
forum. I bought a sheet of plywood.
Yeah.
It was $12.
Yeah. 3/8 plywood is less than drywall.
I know, it's
I ordered
amazing.
a lift of 3/8 plywood for sheathing and so forth, and it averaged out to $10 a sheet when I bought the whole lift.
I mean, 4 years ago, that sheet of plywood would be like $30.
Yeah. In 2005, when I did the renovation in my house next door, it was this little 50s house that we gutted and redid from top to bottom. A sheet of plywood was $47.
Yeah,
That was
3/8?
No, 3/4.
Oh,
After
3/8.
Hurricane Katrina.
Right.
Right.
That's when the OSB went
All the
crazy.
material went to Louisiana to
The price of
rebuild.
OSB, I mean, everything went nuts.
Yeah, 47. Now, today, a sheet of plywood is $25 in 3/4 inch.
Right.
Anyway, but it is definitely the most mammoth project I've ever taken on.
So what we're saying about the size and relationship of scale.
Yeah, it's as a homeowner, builder, designer, understanding volume and scale. So if you've got 1,000 square foot main floor, basically what this house is, it's 1,000 square foot on the main floor, but it's twice the volume of a typical 1,000 square foot house because the ceilings are 19 feet high. So everything costs more to finish. So
Right.
mainly because it's time. Time because it's a steep 912 vaulted roof over a standard structure. Whereas if you just went with a truss roof that had flat ceilings, or say scissor trusses that gave you a small vaulted ceiling, the cost again would be 20 to 30% more because of the height, size. So then, of course, when you have a large house, you have to finish everything from the drywall to the wiring to the plumbing. And it's not just one sink or 2 sinks. It's 4 sinks or 6
It's
sinks.
exponential. The number of plug-ins you need, the number
of doors you have,
Yeah.
the number of windows,
the number of base, the amount of base,
the
everything.
the amount of the volumes of materials that you use to finish
And the labor,
house.
the cost of labor.
Yeah. With this ceiling in the house, it's 2 sections. The ceiling itself is 1,300 square feet of just in the main house.
Right.
And so either to buy drywall to finish that, or what we did is we bought 1x6 spruce to finish that. We bought a whole lift.
Right.
And we finished all, and we'll nail it all up. There's nothing wrong with that, but as I learn now is that it's a lot. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of material. But in the end, what you get is something that's a little bit different.
Right.
You get the volume, you get the size, you get the mass feel of the 10-foot. The lowest wall is 9 or 10 feet, and the ceiling is 19. So it doesn't feel like 1,000 square foot house. It feels like a 3,000 square foot house. And in fact, it is 3,300 feet, basement, main floor, loft, shop.
In total, 30.
In total.
Yeah.
Can't really include the basement in living, and you can't really include the garage or the shop in living. So it's about 1,800 feet square feet
Right.
in living. Still finishing it ourselves. You know, it's still 100 and a quarter a foot, not including our labor to finish it. So that's another learning curve, another learning experience. And would I do it differently again? I would do some things differently, and I would do some things in a similar manner. Simplify the design right from the very beginning. I think would be the first thing, and or build a smaller house or a simpler house if you wanted to finish it on a timeline and a budget. Going with something a little more custom obviously takes more time, obviously takes more energy. So depending on what your aim is, and so I learned for myself that going with something custom for myself was double or triple the amount of work than I ever envisioned. But I don't regret it.
But you get the satisfaction of
Yeah,
having a great house, well-built house, brand new.
solid.
And that's what we were talking about. This house will become your show home.
Yeah, it can be one of the show homes.
I mean, you know, it just shows all the work and the details
Yeah.
that you can put into a house. And
Yeah, and we try to use, eco products. Try to use salvage materials when we can, and our own material when we can, and create something that's unique and quasi-eco. Try to be as eco as you can, and reclaim, reuse some of the beams. Actually, the posts, some of the cedar posts that you see right here were from the cedar trees that we milled ourselves right off the lot. And actually, all the trim on the house, all the black trim, was from the cedar trees that we milled off our own property.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, and the beams inside we milled from fir trees that were standing right on the side of the lot here. So, yes, it's a small lot. It's only a quarter acre, but we took 17 trees out, 10 of which were balsams, which were considered, weeds, BC weeds, right? BC garbage trees. So we utilized the best material we could, the cedar and the fir, into the house.
Amazing.
And created something that's hopefully comfortable to live in. And the aim with the arcs blocks, even though we have the vaulted ceiling, is to try to make it so that it's comfortable living and not outrageously expensive to heat and to light with the solid foam block walls and the radiant sheet floors. So, yeah.
Okay, well, thanks, Alex.
You're
Talk
welcome.
to you later.